Welcome back to Music Kingdom. On one of the most iconic albums ever made in the history of music, you've got songs like You're My Best Friend, I'm in Love with My Car, Love of My Life, Bohemian Rhapsody. But what if I told you there's a song on that album that is not only often forgotten about, but is also criminally underrated and perhaps overshadowed by the rest of the album? Well, in this video, we will be listening to, giving a music theory breakdown for, and reviewing the Prophet song by Queen. Hang tight. Hey everybody, my name is Francis. If you are a fellow nerd for music such as myself and you enjoy more than just reactions but in-depth reviews and analysis of songs, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to support the work I put into these videos, you'll find Music Kingdom's Patreon and other affiliate links in the description below. Alright, now before we give the song a listen, first let's briefly talk the Prophet song by Queen. The Prophet song is, yes, from Queen's fourth studio album titled A Night at the Opera, released in 1975. Now, typically at this part of the video, I will go into the history of not only the song, but the album. However, what more can be said about this album that hasn't already been said? I suppose I could say that it is such a truly great album with so many iconic songs that the song we are reviewing in this video oftentimes doesn't really get talked about. So let's talk about it. The Prophet song was composed by Queen's guitarist and astrophysicist Brian May, which, to be honest, has always kind of surprised me. It certainly surprised me when I found out several years ago. Not to be a dick to the great Brian May, but if you are familiar with the body of work by Queen, you might agree that some songs definitely sound like a John Deacon song, like a Roger Taylor song, like a Brian May song, and of course, a Freddie Mercury song. And to me, even though I know that Brian May wrote and composed the Prophet song, it's always felt like a Freddie Mercury song, but alas. Now, the Prophet song was originally titled People of the Earth, and it is the longest Queen song, at least with vocals running at 8 minutes and 21 seconds. To my knowledge, portions of the song were recorded for their second album, Queen 2, but were abandoned at the time. Brian May explained that he wrote the song after a dream he had about a great flood while he was recovering from being sick during the recording of their third album, Sheer Heart Attack, using the dream as his source for some of the lyrics. Now, as you'll come to understand later when we are listening to the song, the production in this song specifically really blows me away. And it's no secret that Freddie Mercury, Brian May, Roger Taylor, John Deacon all had very out-of-the-box and creative ways of producing their records. This song in particular includes a vocal canon sung by Freddie Mercury, produced by tape delay devices of the day. Brian May also uses a Japanese koto instrument in the introduction and conclusion of the song. The wind effect you'll hear as well was created by recording the sound of an air conditioning unit through a phaser. So on and so forth, top to bottom. Like many other songs on this album, the Prophet song in its own right is a work of art. Alright, at long last, with that all out of the way, it's time we give the song a listen, and just a heads up, I will be pausing a few times to share my thoughts, but ultimately to avoid any copyright strikes. And as always, be sure to stick around after the song for a music theory breakdown from our expert, and then we're going to divide the song into specific categories, grading them each, averaging them out, and arriving at an overall score. Knowing their creativity in the production process really makes every little detail even better. And a beautiful introduction as well, knowing where the song is going to. Amazing. They had such presence. The lyrics are pure poetry, so imaginative. Well put together. Thoughts so far? I mean, we're not even at the best part yet, but even still, where to begin? As mentioned, in their own respect, these lyrics are masterfully crafted. Even if the song were to end already, it would still be a masterpiece in terms of its production and how well it's put together. And something else I'll say is that if you're watching this and you've subscribed to this channel because of a lot of the metal reviews I've done, it is apples and oranges. I'm not trying to directly compare the two, but a song like this, in my opinion, is such a perfect example of how you can have hard rock, how you can have some elements of progressive rock, and yet creatively go the extra mile with a vision to turn it into this abstract, beautiful work of art. The harmonies. What a work of art, honestly. While this is nowhere near Freddie's best performance, vocally, it's still very good. The creativity is off the charts. At this point in the song, still not even at its best part, I'm still blown away. Top to bottom in pretty much every category that you can dissect a song, this song excels. Whether we're talking about effects or reverb on the vocals, but in a tasteful way, whether we're talking about harmonies, the various usage of instruments, the atmosphere that is created, the aesthetic that is created, the journey that you're on as the listener. And then yes, enhanced by the brilliantly penned lyrics and the mastery of Freddie Mercury's vocals, even though, yeah, it's not even his vocal peak, which I would argue happened in the 1980s. Regardless, strap in.
People, can you hear me?
The brilliance.
Now I know, now I know, now I know, now I know. The earth was shaking to a break.
And it's such an experience for the listener.
Now I know, now I know. Now I know, now I know, now I know.
Brilliantly put together, honestly. Blows me away. And if it couldn't get any better, it's about to.
Listen to the wise, listen to the wise man. Listen to the wise man. La la.
insane. Okay, so as many times as I've heard this song in my life, which is aplenty, it always moves me and just takes me back as if it's the first listen all over again. And honestly, it's growing up on music like this that, yes, has really evolved my passion and love for music while simultaneously setting my standards, raising the bar so high for anything else I listen to. And can we just talk about the sheer beauty, the sheer genius and brilliance of Freddie Mercury? Yes, I acknowledge this is a song by Brian May, but you could really feel the spirit, the soul, the energy, whatever you want to call it, of Freddie Mercury in that middle section of the song. This is a man who so obviously, yes, can be a killer rock star, but also enjoys opera and has like 9 cats. It's fabulous meets hard rock. Goosebumps every time. I almost even teared up. What an experience this song is. It doesn't get much more genius and creative and artistic than that. And that's why I thought it was a Freddie Mercury song. It's a song that so brilliantly balances beauty with rock and mashes them together. I feel like I usually have more to say, but this song, as many times as I've heard it, just leaves me speechless. The attention to detail, the intricacies. This is why I love the 70s as well. Not to say you can't find this in other decades, but it was ripe with creativity. And songs like this are why my standards are so high. And it leads to the intro of Love of My Life, concept album. Alright, initial thoughts before we go to the expert's corner and before grading the song. You would think that was my first time ever hearing the song, but damn it, it still feels like that. Why? Not to be redundant, but in my opinion, a masterful work of art. And major respect to Brian May, especially in that final segment of the song, for really just shredding it on the guitar. Reminding the listener that yes, while we are sophisticated, while we are artistic, while we are cultured, we are still a fucking rock band. But otherwise, yes, in my opinion, this song is a perfect example of creativity in music at its best. And I have many more specific thoughts to unpack as we grade the song, breaking it apart, arriving at an overall score. But first, let's go to the expert's corner for a music theory breakdown and to see how he grades the song's composition.
Welcome to the Expert's Corner. This is the Prophet song by Queen, and I am here to give it a composition score. This song is in the time signature of 4/4, and as for the key, I think there are many answers. Now, I have to admit I'm not intimately familiar with the song, having only heard it a few times all the way through, but from what I have heard, there is D minor, there is A minor, I think I heard some G minor in there. And God knows how many other keys this song jumps through, because it is quite a wide-ranging song, and that's part of why it is going to get such a high score from me. So typically in the Experts Corner, I just quickly find a part of the song I want to show to you guys, give you the music theory, give you a chord rundown. In this song that's 8 minutes long and so intricate, it's really hard to choose a part. But I did find two things, very small things that I'm going to show you, that really lend to the song's originality and creativity with its composition. One of which is just a walk-up they do when they're in the key of A minor. They start there, so they go A minor, B flat major, G over B, C major, A over C sharp, D minor, B over D sharp, E major. You don't hear stuff like that in rock or pop or pretty much any genre anymore. The other thing I wanted to play for you is just one single chord they use, but you're just not ready for it. It almost has like a cinematic feel. They're in D minor. They're kind of doing this. And then they take it from a D minor to an F sharp minor, which has such a dark, foreboding feel. And then to go from there back to D minor. I listened to it and I was just like, why did you do that? And I'm very glad you did that. Obviously there is so much more to unpack in this song, and I wish I could, but I can't have this video being as long as the song is. I will say, however, that the composition is beautifully crafted. I was originally going to give all the props to Freddie Mercury for his incredible talents that he has, but thank God I did my research and found out this one was composed by Brian May. I had no idea, and I think that's so cool. Now for that kind of bit in the middle where Freddie's playing around with the delay machine, which is so great, I'm wondering if Brian May composed that or if he stuck a microphone in front of Freddie's mouth and said, hey, just do your thing. Regardless, that part was brilliant, whether that was Freddie's just on-the-spot compositional talents or Freddie meticulously planning that part out. I'm equally impressed by both possibilities. So between that part, the intricacies of the verses, the subtleties of the intro, the outro, it is all just so beautifully done, and I give this song a 9 out of 10. Back to you, Francis.
A very special thank you to our expert for providing a music theory breakdown and giving this song's composition a 9 out of 10, tied for the highest score he has ever given any song's composition on this channel. And now it's time to divide the song into 4 more categories, grading them each, averaging them out, and arriving at an overall score. Starting off with the category of production specifically, I'm inclined to give it a very rare 9.5 out of 10. If you are a longtime subscriber on this channel and you've heard me talking about production giving something a 6, a 7, or even an 8, but saying that it's not quite a 9 or a 10, this is what that sounds like. And even more impressive because oftentimes when I'm reviewing either hard rock, prog rock, or metal, production in those genres is usually going to be pretty minimalistic, simple, or practical, so that then it can be replicated later live. But no, not when it comes to Queen. This song has pretty much anything you could ask for from a production. Whether we're talking about the usage of a Japanese instrument in the intro, or using air conditioning to simulate wind, or the vocal effects on Freddie Mercury's voice, or the clever usage of harmonies in the perfect moments, the incorporation of so many various instruments working together harmoniously, or the mind-blowing vocal effects in the middle of the song that still to this day give me goosebumps, so on and so forth. And what makes all of that even more impressive is you're doing it with technology that is roughly 50 years less advanced than what we have today. Amazing, a masterclass. Keeping it moving, up next we have the category of lyrics, and I'm inclined to give the lyrics to this song the ever elusive perfect 10 out of 10. I dreamed I saw a moonlit stare, spreading his hand on the multitude there, a man who cried for love gone stale and ice-cold hearts of charity bare. From mother's love is the son estranged, married his own, his precious gain, the earth will shake and two will break and death all round will be your dowry. And so much more. It is so beyond poetic, you could almost find this verbiage in the Bible. The writing in this song is just so creative, it is so imaginative, it is so abstract, and you would think with lyrics this intricate that honestly belong in a book instead would not necessarily flow with the song, but alas, they do. Brilliantly done in my opinion, yet again, another masterclass. Up next we have the category of vocals, which I am inclined to give yet another very rare 9 out of 10. And for what it's worth, in case you're new to the channel, I do not just hand out 9s, 9.5s, and 10s so easily. Heck, oftentimes it's hard for me to even give a category an 8 or an 8.5. But yes, in my opinion at least, this song is just that masterful top to bottom, and vocals are no different. Now, truth be told, I was inclined to give the vocal delivery in this song probably an 8 or maybe an 8.5, simply because, while yes, we all acknowledge that Freddie Mercury is one of the greatest vocalists who ever lived, a lot of that vocal brilliance would come in the 1980s. And oftentimes in the 1970s, while his voice was still incredible, it wasn't quite as versatile. And in this song specifically, while it is a very strong vocal delivery, I still would say that there are other songs by Queen with Freddie Mercury's voice that are even better. So why did I instead go from an 8 or an 8.5 to a 9? Because Freddie Mercury, and to be fair, Michael Jackson, at least off the top of my head, are the only two vocalists in my entire life that I have ever heard who know how to use their voices creatively as well, surpassing vocal versatility, which in its own right is what I already look for. But this song is a magnificent example, particularly in that middle segment, of not just singing well, but also singing creatively, artistically. That skill alone and how well it was applied in this song for me is enough to bump what I would give an 8 to a 9, and so there it is. All right, arriving at our final category of originality, I'm inclined to give it yet another ever elusive perfect 10 out of 10. Of all the adjectives that you could use or that I have already used in this video to describe this song, perhaps the best adjective to use is original. Or if you want to get synonymous, let's talk creative, let's talk expressive, let's talk abstract, let's talk brilliant. No other song before this sounds like this, and no other song that has ever been made since this song sounds like it either. It is also example number 396,000 why I love the decade of the 70s. It was just oozing with creativity. And when it comes to creating works of art in the 70s, there are many greats, but also look no further than Queen. The lyrics are original. The composition is original. The production is out of this world original. Even the vocal delivery is remarkably original, thinking of a way to use your voice like that. This song, top to bottom, screams inspiration. In my opinion, it should be used as an example for anybody who's trying to make it as an artist, regardless of genre, of what the approach to creating music with imagination and wonder can sound like. So now if we add it all up, including the expert's composition score, and average it out, the Prophet song by Queen from their 4th studio album, A Night at the Opera, released in 1975, gets the highest score we've given yet, a 9.5 out of 10. In my opinion, at least, that is a fair assessment of this song. And usually at this part of the video, I would say more in the context of the score I just gave it and explaining further, but honestly, I think I've said just about all I can say. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree with me. Am I right on the money? Am I batshit crazy? Am I somewhere in between? In addition to that, any other song recommendations you'd like for this channel to review next. Fair warning, if it's Queen, it won't be a first time listen because I'm familiar with their entire catalog. But if this song reminded you of anything you think I would enjoy, drop it down below. As mentioned, if you are a fellow nerd for music such as myself, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you'd like to support the work I put into these videos, you'll find Music Kingdom's Patreon and other affiliate links in the description below. This has been another edition of Music Kingdom. Thank you so much for listening with me, and I look forward to jamming with you in the next one.